this is Santosh Mishra, Assistant Professor from IT Department of Akgec Engineering College. As we have already studied many topics of web technology that is running in third year for CSIT and IT students and allied branches of CSE. In that continuation, I am covering a very interesting and important topic of your interest that is called Java server pages. Before studying this Java server pages, we have already gone with the concept that is servlet. In previous lecture, I have taught you what the servlet is, how the servlet handles the request of the client, process that request, generate the responses of that client, and send the responses back to the client in the client understandable format. We have studied this in my previous lecture. The thing that we have studied there are the each and every thing is combined in a servlet page. These things for the logic of your program logic, for presentation logic, and for backend logic, all have that we called model view control. For the view part, for the logic means logic part, that we also called model, and backend part. Each and everything is handled by the same servlet page, and that makes the servlet very complex. Distribute these things to make the things distributed and separate. We use the concept of Java server pages. Java server pages, as the name suggests, shows that its full form is Java server pages, that we also called in short form as JSP, is a technology that is introduced by Sun Microsystem. It is used to develop the web application in more efficient way than servlet. Means the efficiency of developing the dynamic web pages of the programmer enhances if he or she uses the concept of JSP in spite of servlet. Why it's happened? Because as I have already told you that each and everything for business logic, for presentation logic, and for backend logic, each and everything has to be done within the same program in the servlet. So that makes it inefficient for the programmer to develop the things. To reduce these limitations, to improve the capability of servlet, the things are separated in different parts, and that makes the development faster, because we can assign different teams for different tasks. For presentation task, we may assign separate team. For business logic part, we may assign the different team, and for backend database part, that separate team may work upon in a parallel fashion. That makes the development faster as compared to the servlet. It has many advances. It has many advancement of the future than servlet. It has the advanced feature than servlet. One of them to separate the presentation logic from the business logic and provide the designer and developer of the web application to work independently. As I have already told you, the logics are separated in different parts, and the different parts may be assigned to the different teams. That makes the teams work independently, and parallelly they produce the desired result. That makes the things more faster as compared to the servlet. This JSP has many advancements that I have already told you. These advances are, it contains different predefined objects, it contains these different tags. So in overall scenario, we understand what the JSP is. As a layman language, we can say that it is the combination of HTML and Java. It is combination of HTML that is used for the static components of your web page, of your web application, and the Java that is used to take the dynamic content to develop the business logic of your web application. So these are different. We can collectively say that it is the collection of HTML and Java. Wherever the static things are required, we use HTML, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. For the static things, we use HTML, CSS, JavaScript like things, and for the dynamic content, we use Java. And the combination of both these things are called JSP. This is the crux of JSP. To understand the JSP, we have to understand following components. Before starting this component, let us understand how the JSP processes the things. JSP processes the pages in two phases. That the first phase is translation phase and the second phase is compilation execution phase. So in translation phase, your JSP page is converted to its equivalent servlet, and after that, that servlet compiles and execute and serve the request of the client. So ultimately, this JSP will be converted in the servlet, and servlet plays the role as we have already understood in the previous lecture. Similar fashion, but the things are very easy here because tags has been defined, and the developer have to use those tags to define its dynamic things very easily, that we will see. So this translation and compilation of your JSP page is called JSP processing. So what the JSP processing is? In JSP processing, the JSP engine work in two phases. In first phase is translate your JSP page into equivalent servlet, and in the second phase, that equivalent servlet are compiled and executed to serve the client request. So this is the JSP processing. Now let us move ahead. The JSP have the following components. In spite of this, there are some implicit objects that we will see later on. So the JSP contains directive tags. Then it has the declaration tag, it has scriptlet tag, expression tag, action tag, and some custom tags. So whenever we are supposed to reply what are the JSP tags, these are the tags of JSP: directive, declaration, scriptlet, expression, standard action tags, and custom tags. So let us understand it one by one. What the directive tag is? As the name suggests, a directive tag are the directions, are the instructions that are given to the JSP container that the container has to follow before the actual processing of your JSP page. Same as we have learned in C language as preprocessor directive. In the similar fashion, this directive tag, whatever the directive tag we are using in JSP, those directive tags are just the directions given to the JSP engine, because the JSP page execute its life cycle into JSP engine. So in directive tag, we give the instructions to that JSP engine that whatever task whatever task the JSP has to be done before processing before processing your JSP into equivalent servlet, the JSP engine has to follow certain rules and regulations, certain task has to be performed before pre-processing of your JSP page, and for that we declare those instructions, those directions to this directive tag. So there are three types of directive tag. First one is page directive. Then second one is include directive. And so what the page directive is? The first one is page directive, second was include directive, and third one is tag leave directive. So what the let us understand one by one. The page directive are as the name suggests, page directive, directions given to the JSP engine, because whatever directions are to be given must be written in some directive tag. And how we can understand these tags are directive tag? So if the directive tag, whenever you are going to use the directive tag, those directive tag must start with this tag. This per angular bracket percentage at the rate. This is the starting of this at the rate, so that this is the directive tag. This is the directive tag, and it is of page type. So after that you have to write page, means this is the page directive. And after using this page directive, let's close this tag by percentage and closing angular bracket. This way, whatever things you write here are page directive. So page directive are the directive given to the JSP engine that suggest whatever directions are written over here must be included. They are used for this current page only, and before processing before translating this page, the instructions has to be followed. So this tag, this page directive have different attributes that we can use to instruct, to direct the JSP engine about this page. So these attributes are, as we already know, that whatever attribute of any tags are used, that must be used after at the time of beginning tag. This is the starting tag and this is the ending tag for page directive or directive tag. So at the starting here you can use different attributes. That attributes may be space separated. Those attributes value pair may be used. Like we can use language attribute, and whatever it has been written here, it are all in the small letter you can use. But since we know that the browser things are not case sensitive, so you can use capital also, but it is suggested that you should use write language in the small letter. But it is just a recommendation, not mandatory. So language we can use, you can write here language equals to, let me erase this box. So you can use here language equals to, and here you may write the name of the language like Java. So this directive tag that use language equals to Java means whatever things has been written in the scripting tag, expression tag, declaration tag that we will see just now. In declaration tag, scriptlet tag, expression tag, whatever tag you are writing the things, those follows the syntax of Java language. We will see that these both all these tags, declaration, scriptlet and expressions are used to write the Java code in your JSP page. So in declaration, scriptlet and expression, which language code has been written are defined in this directive tag that contains the language attribute. Means we are instructing the compiler of JSP engine that whatever code has been written in scriptlet, declaration or expression, those codes are in Java language. So compiler will check the syntax of Java language has been followed or not, and depending upon the error may be generated. So language specify the language name for which the scriptlet tag, declaration tag, scriptlet tag, those all will follow. So by default the language is Java. So if you have not used the language attribute of this directive tag, then by default the code written in scriptlet, declaration or expression tag are of Java language. But you can specify any other language also. So in JSP you can use for making the things dynamic, you can use the language, any language that suppose that is compatible for your system. So by default the language attribute contains Java. So collectively whenever write this thing, means collectively it instruct the JSP engine that for the current JSP page, the language that has to be followed in scriptlet, declaration or expression tag are of Java language. And as I have already told you that this is the optional, any attribute is optional, and if you have not used that, in that situation the by default language is Java language for language attribute. So similarly you can use any number of attribute for this page directive, and there are a number of attributes available. So you can use import attribute. For importing, if you want to import some package or some classes for other package to current JSP page, for that you can use import attribute @page import, and import equals to, here I am writing java dot util dot star. Means I am instructing the JSP engine that, and in addition to the classes, packages, interfaces, whatever you have imported for the current translation, also import this package also before translating your JSP page into equivalent servlet. Before translating, this package must also be imported before translation of your JSP page. So whatever external API you are going to use, you may use by this import attribute. You can import any number of classes, packages in your JSP page. Similarly, you can define the buffer size. You can specify the scope. In scope, we will cover in the next lecture. And similarly, there are a number of attributes of page directive that may be used, and those directives are available or applicable for the current page only. So this scope attribute is very much important that we will see in our next lecture. So we will meet in the next lecture to understand the rest remaining concepts of JSP, and we will cover this scope attribute also. Okay, let us meet in the next lecture. Thank you. Thanks to all.